Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Thank you so much. Have a seat. Have a seat. Happy Monday. It's great to be back. And speaking of being back, I also want to welcome PEI, Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario. So we got some good Canadians up in the house, so you'll love our first story, I think. We're going to start with some hockey history. Take a look at this shot by Alex Ovechkin because he toppled Wayne Gretzky to become the top goal scorer in the NHL. So there it is, big moment. Big moment in hockey. However, a Globe and Mail columnist is arguing that it is hard to ignore the Russian hockey star's politics and his ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin. In fact, his Instagram profile picture even is him with, well, he's at the Kremlin standing next to Vladimir Putin.
Wow.
So here's the question, can we celebrate an athlete's success in light of their political leanings? Andrea?
Wow. You know what? I was so happy to go first until I heard all the booing. Because my opinion is I don't care. I don't care, and I don't think sports fans should care. And listen to me, I have a little story to tell. Back in the day, I was covering the Oscars, right? Big deal. And at the time, Vice President Al Gore won for his documentary, An Inconvenient Truth. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
And as soon as he got backstage, I just happened to be standing there, and I got an exclusive interview with him. We talked for like 10 minutes. I was so excited about it. So I get back to the station afterwards, and I tell my boss, I'm like, okay, I interviewed a lot of people, but I got an exclusive with VP Al Gore right after his win. And he goes, too bad that's not gonna see the light of day. And I go, why? He goes, well, you know, the big boss is Republican, and so we can't air that. That's not gonna see the light of day because they don't align politically. And I go, wait a second, that has nothing to do with politics. He goes, it doesn't matter. And in that moment, first of all, I was so shocked by that. Yeah. And in that moment, I'm like, but you have to be able to separate things. It's like his political leanings and the work that he does are two separate things. We need to celebrate. He just won. We're celebrating everybody else. He goes, that's not the way that works. So when I think about Ovechkin, this is why I have this opinion. Listen, no one should take away all the hard work, hours, missing teeth that this man has put into his career. Right? Because of his political leanings. The reality is, everybody in this room, none of us agree on every single thing, but we still can sit next to each other and have a good conversation and be civil. So I say, let us celebrate this man and whatever he's done in hockey and be like, great job. It takes a lot of hard work to do that. And how you feel about Putin is none of my damn business when it comes to the job that you have.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but like, look at the reaction that we've had to Wayne Gretzky and his allegiance with Trump, right? Everyone feels a way about that. In fact, I feel like many Canadians have gone on record saying, like, you know what? You kind of no longer have your Canada card, despite all the work that he's done.
Can I go as far as, you know, his nickname is the Great One. Yeah. There are some people I've seen online calling him the Great once.
Well, there you go. People are mad. And I think
people are mad.
It's because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like, he has a choice. Wayne Gretzky has decided to sleep with the enemy by becoming so cozy with Trump. And I think that in the case of Ovechkin, I mean, I don't know. Is it like, can we say for sure that he has a choice? We know the history of this Russian leader, and if he wasn't to align himself, if he wasn't to put an Instagram photo cozying up with them, again, we don't even know who asked for that. Right. Like, could he end up like, I don't know.
Well, he could never go back home, like Baryshnikov, the Russian ballet dancer. Like, I think he just made if this was pre-Putin, but he made the decision, I'm just never going home again, I think.
Is there a difference between, okay, maybe he doesn't have a choice, but is there a difference between that and, okay, I'm Russian and I respect my leader, and I put together in 2017 a group in Russia called Team Putin, and he was publicly lobbying in support of Vladimir Putin's 2018 presidential run. So it wasn't just like, I support my leader. It's, I'm going to galvanize, I'm going to fundraise, and I'm going to stand up strong for Putin. It wasn't just, he's my leader. I don't know if that makes a difference.
It only makes a difference for me insofar as I guess I am assuming, and maybe I'm wrong and someone can tell me that there wouldn't necessarily be as much choice. Because if someone like a Putin came up to you behind the scenes and was like, I need you to show your support, how many people, from my understanding, would have the control and the power to say, no, I'm going to actually vote in a different direction direction.
Right.
I think there would be strong implications for that
His
person.
family still lives there, et cetera. Sure.
Don't you think, I'm going to play devil's advocate, like I think it's easy to forget that, what's his name?
Ovechkin.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. My point is that, as you might have guessed, I'm not that invested in hockey. So I don't care so much about the Putin ties. But I think for people who already didn't care about an athlete, they're not going to care. But if you really like an athlete, I think you're going to respond differently. Do you know what I mean? And it's one thing to say, like, only the performance should matter, whether it's an athlete, an actor, but where do we draw that line? I think it's only when the politics align with ours. Like, what about Carrie Underwood? Or a Kanye, like how come? Like I think it's the reaction's been a little bit.
That's such a good.
Doing this job.
No, that's such a good point, and I think you know what? Oh, you just tapped a little nerve for me because while I defended Ovechkin, I think like when during the presidential election we saw Snoop Dogg and we saw a lot of rappers like Nelly align themselves with Trump, and as a black person, I was like, well, you're done. No more concerts. Not going to your concert. But it's different because as a black person, like you know how this political affiliation disservices us. Right? So how can you stand beside this man when you know what he's going to do to us?
It became personal.
It became personal
and
because it's like, how can you be part of the community that is going to be persecuted by this particular...
Well, when you talk about that, let's talk about the NHL.
Russians who...
For Russians, but also for other players in NHL. Dominik Hasek is a huge player, and he's come up. He's from Czechia, formerly the Czech Republic, and he stands up very strongly against Ovechkin because he is on the receiving end. His country, his people have been on the receiving end of Putin's actions. And so I think in 2025, and maybe before this, I don't think there is the luxury now of these figures transcending politics that they may be used to. When we take a look at what Wayne Gretzky has been holding this record for 20 years, we've been so proud of him as the great one because he's not just about hockey, he's about Canada. It's like we dominate hockey, and he has become an unofficial ambassador for Canadians around the world. So we have felt betrayed when he got in bed with Trump.
It became personal.
It became really personal. So, and no one's ever touched Wayne Gretzky in the history of Wayne Gretzky. So I think 2025 is a different year. I really do.
Well,
It's interesting.
Okay, we're moving on to this. Patti LaBelle has people debating dinner party etiquette. So the Grammy winner was on The Sherry Show and called out Elton John for never returning her Tupperware after she sent him home with some leftovers. So do you expect your friends to give Tupperware back, friends and family?
Yes.
You are if Elton John didn't return
I'm going to tell you when you wouldn't care, because the part of the story that caught me was that they connected years after the fact, and she said, Elton, where's my Tupperware? He was playing at a piano, he took a ring off, and he put it, and then he was playing and said, there's your Tupperware. To this day, Patti LaBelle has his rings. You know what?
God.
Take my Tupperware. Give me the ring.
I care. It's also, Patti LaBelle is worth $50 million according to Forbes. And she is fussing about Tupperware? Tupperware.
Maybe it has
really?
sentimental value.
She's selling those sweet potato pies everywhere, and she's worried about Tupperware. Here's my rule. Listen, you give me nice Tupperware, I'm keeping it. If you didn't want me to have it, you would wrap my leftovers in foil, and we keep it moving.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? If you really want it, don't do that. Don't let it leave your house, because you know you're never going to get it back. I'm not bringing it back. I'm not washing it and bringing it back to your house. If you love it, then keep it and just wrap it. But again, $50 million talking about Tupperware.
Am I the only one who can't wait to give the Tupperware back?
Yes, you are.
Because, like, really? Because I have piles of I have 2 piles with Post-it notes. This belongs to my mother-in-law. This belongs to my mom. This belongs to so-and-so, like friends. Because I can't wait to get rid of it because I already have enough.
How many do you have in your cupboard, do you think?
I have enough, like, that just fits in the cupboard. So if it doesn't fit in the cupboard, where's it gonna go?
In the dark.
So I put it in the back of the car, in the trunk, in a little bag with the station note. So that when I go to your house, it's like, take it.
Here's a question. Will any of that Tupperware go back to its original owner in this year, in this calendar year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it feels so good. It's like Marie Kondoing the Tupperware. Kiss it goodbye.
But don't you have, I don't know if it's just me, there's 2 types of Tupperware. There's the takeout, the once upon a time takeout stuff
Yeah.
that you're kind of washing and going, passes the sniff test.
yeah.
And then you have the good stuff.
Yeah.
You never give up. Mine is glass. I'm not giving you my glass.
My mother gives me the glass every time. She's the
does.
only one, and she always says to me, do not forget to bring this back. And it's all sitting in the basement. I was just there this weekend, and I didn't remember to bring it back.
Oh, you're in trouble.
I know.
Trouble.
Sorry, Mom.
Is it the
So
good stuff,
sweet.
too?
The good stuff,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Mom.
You give me the good stuff.
Okay.
I'm keeping it.
Well, we know who her favorite daughter is.
Not me.
Me.
All right, so let's keep this great conversation going. This is a spoiler-free zone, so don't worry, we're not going to go reveal what happened in the White Lotus finale, but let's talk about Carrie Coon's moving monologue about the meaning of life.
I had this epiphany today. I don't need religion or God to give my life meaning, because time gives it meaning.
All right, so do you think life has one grand purpose? What do you guys think? Okay.
Wow! No! I'm the same as you guys. I love that speech, and I read the rest of it, still haven't watched it, but it's straight out of, have you guys heard of Epicurus? He's a Greek philosopher. Thanks. Hey, buddy.
That one person.
I respect you, and I honor you.
one person.
Thank you so much. But it's so interesting, because he's writing 2,300 years ago, essentially saying the same thing. Like, what is the meaning? What is it all about? And it's about the pursuit of happiness through simple pleasures, through conversations, maybe imbibing here and there, not too much, in a little food and wine, but never too much. And he didn't believe in an afterlife, so the idea is this is what we got, live every day to the fullest. And so I love that. But what trips me up, bear with me, is that Epicurus, some of us remember his name 2,300 years ago, but for the majority of us, we're not gonna be remembered. That used to give me so much anxiety when I was younger.
Really?
This idea that, because you had so much space in front of you, obviously, when you're younger. Everything seemed infinite. But the older I get, the more I realize my name's gonna be forgotten, and most of ours throughout human history will be forgotten in a couple generations,
Yep.
if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And there's something freeing in that. There's something beautiful about it. Like, make it in the moment. Like, what we're doing now, that's the good stuff.
Oh my
That's
gosh, you know what?
everything.
Does that mean you're gonna start wiling out? Are you just gonna start wiling out, Jess?
Everything in moderation. Moderation.
Oh, right. I forgot
Simple
that part.
life.
Oh, sorry.
A
I do.
simple
I love that.
life. No?
I mean, I
This is
agree. I don't think
beautiful.
anybody has any idea about what their purpose is. And those who say it, I'm kind of like, I think that we maybe have harped too much on that idea, and it stresses people out. People are constantly looking at what's my purpose, what's my meaning of life. The other day, something struck me though. I was having a conversation with my son, and I said something offhandedly, like I said, oh, I don't know how to fix things like your daddy does. And he goes, my son says, that's not true. You fix bad moods. And I was just like,
Stop
maybe
it.
that's my purpose. Maybe it is as simple as those little things about, like, you impact one or two people in your life, you surround yourself with as many people that you love, and you just kind of are as kind as possible. Like, could it be that simple? So maybe that is the meaning of life, or the purpose of life.
It's the Paris Hilton.
really sweet.
And
Simple life. Nicole Richie.
They had it down.
I just, you know what? Just stick a pin for a
Yeah,
second, because
yeah.
I also feel like this is a question that it depends on. If you're rich and you're asked this question, it's very cool. But if you're poor, it's kind of like people would think that you're crazy, because you have to have privilege in order to sit there and go, what is my purpose in life? What do I want? What's the impact I want to have? Meanwhile, you talk to a person who doesn't have means, they'll be like, I don't have time for purpose. I've got to get a roof over my head. I got food on the table. I got to get money. I got to make sure my kids are okay. So not
But
everybody
that is
has
their purpose. I bet you.
No, but it doesn't feel like purpose. It's survival. It's not purpose. It's
I
survival.
wonder.
As opposed to someone who can sit back and go, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay these bills because everything's paid for. So let me sit down and really think about what I want to do with my life.
But you know what they say?
right?
Research shows that people who are in sometimes the poorest countries in the world have a different sense of happiness than we do here in the West. So I think
because they know how to find happiness in the little things. But there are a lot of people, and including my own mother, and I know other women as well, who when you ask them, what was your purpose? They'll look at you and go, I don't really know. I didn't have time to think about that. I had to survive. I had to figure it out. I had to come to a country with nothing. So for me, sitting down and going, what's my purpose, was not something that I had the luxury of doing. doing. I also think that we don't also value people who find their purpose until it turns into something. Take Jay Shetty, for example. Imagine having a friend who says, I'm gonna become a monk. I'm gonna go away, I'm gonna find my life's purpose. You would think, oh, here we go. He's gonna be living in his mama's basement forever. But then he becomes a successful author, podcaster, and life coach. And all of a sudden we're like, he found his life's purpose. Amazing.
So true.
So we don't always value it when a person takes the time to do that anyways.
I just rewatched Inside Llewyn Davis last night, an old Coen Brothers movie, and it was exactly that. It was like on the heels, right before Bob Dylan gets discovered, this guy, Llewyn Davis, is on the cusp of finding his purpose, being this folk musician, selling records, being famous, and he quits the same day that Bob Dylan is sort of discovered.
Yeah.
The idea that we're always on the cusp. We've been sold this dream, sort of like, what is your purpose? It is attached to your very being and who you are and how much money you make.
I wonder if it changes with stage and age in life. I think if you ask a 20-year-old, like, what's your purpose? I think the answer is gonna be very different. And I think as you get older, what is the beauty of that? It's wisdom and understanding the things that maybe matter and don't matter. And quite frankly, the older we get, the closer we get to the finish line. And of course, that's gonna change the way that we look at the world. I think now when I'm 47, turning 48 this year, and I think, what is my purpose? It's probably leaning more towards the simple stuff. I think younger I would have said, career, the this. And today it's like, be a good firstborn daughter and help my aging parents. That's purpose to me.
Yeah.
It's also about being a good mother. And what I mean by that is having a good life of my own. I think one of my purpose is, you know, kill the demons so that you can be the most present and emotionally available for your child. It's about being a good role model for her. And part of that is actually a bit of YOLO, because I think that for me, living my fullest, biggest life proves to her that she can live her biggest, fullest, happiest life. Now, what does that mean? That's for each of us to understand.
Yeah.
So I think that it's probably age, and the older we get. You know, my dad says that the devil isn't wise because he's the devil. The devil is wise because he's old. And there is something in that, which is the older you get, the longer you're here, you got more, hopefully, upstairs. So this is an answer for, I think, each of us individually. You know? Guys, deep stuff. Why are we so deep on a Monday? We were talking sports, meaning of life. Who are we today?
Give us a little time off. When we come back, ready to talk.
Barack Obama revealing to students at Hamilton College that he is in a deep deficit with Michelle after 8 years of them being in the White House. So he said he has been trying to dig himself out of that hole by doing, quote, occasionally some fun things. So how do you deal with what is some people are calling relationship deficits?
I mean, I don't, as a rule, think it's good if you feel like you owe your partner things constantly. I think that that's a recipe for disaster and for bitterness. And I think in this case, I wonder, first of all, I'm a huge Obama fan, and Michelle Obama specifically. And I wonder what she would say about this, if she feels like he constantly owes her stuff. Because I think the better thing is if maybe she did resent him. You know, she was a lawyer, she had a burgeoning career. I'm sure she had lots of resentment about this pivot career that she didn't ask for. And yet I wonder if she stays locked in that story of like, I didn't get this, and I didn't get this, and I wanted this, and this didn't happen. If you stay in a story like that for your life, you are gonna hate your life. You're gonna get the end of it, and you're gonna feel like it had no meaning.
Yeah,
I love it.
If you turn it around and are like, oh, well, this happened, and
an unexpected turn, and look, I became a best-selling author. I have a podcast. My daughters have these opportunities.
I also wonder if it's Barack who's the one who is saying this, if it's just coming out of his guilt.
Maybe,
do you know what I mean? Because I do this at home all the time. Like, Simon, oh my gosh, it feels like the last decade is all about me. Like, problems with me, anxieties, family, stuff like that. I want you to know, like, when I'm here for you, sort of waiting on the sidelines, like, when you need me. But he never feels that way. He thinks it's just a matter of us being well-matched. I'm more needy. Do you know what I mean?
It's a good match.
That's a good
but also,
he's just so self-sufficient.
It's self-sufficient, or is that just you did find a beautiful partnership? Because I know that the idea that relationships are supposed to be 50-50, that, I don't know who ever said that, but that math never mathed.
You're right.
Because relationships are never 50-50, because sometimes it's 70-30. Now I'm gonna do math on national television. Sometimes it's 80-20. Sometimes
you're doing great.
75-25.
Right?
I got you.
I say this, so like maybe maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
Ooh, we got through that. I think of
But
my
you
husband
don't want
and I.
to have the calculator out
No,
on every
like,
gesture.
yeah,
No,
I think
but,
exactly.
but it looks different. So yes, she might have had to sacrifice something when he became, like, first of all, she sacrificed her privacy. Let's start with that.
Yes.
But beyond that, look at what she's been able to do with the platform she did get as
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
Lady. She has been, to me, the most impactful First Lady in the history of the
That
United
part.
States of
That
America.
part.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift
And by the way,
gears.
if she doesn't want Barack Obama and she's really angry, we'll take him. We're all ready to take him, Michelle.
Okay, listen to this. White Lotus star Walton Goggins has been crowned the show's underdog heartthrob, and he's getting credit for making receding hairlines
Yes.
sexy. So do we see the appeal? What do we think, Mel?
Yes! Yes! To the baldies!
Sorry. Just scanning our audience. Is it his receding hairline that makes him sexy? Or is it the fact that on the show, he is a bad boy? And you know what? I don't care what anybody says. We still love a bad boy.
Yes.
Receding hairline or not.
But this
Yes,
is
this-
interesting because
Yes.
I actually saw him at a restaurant in January in upstate New York. And he wasn't a bad boy then. He was charismatic. He was charming. He was so kind to the staff. And I was like, oh my goodness, what she's feeling. So I think if we saw that hairline on a jerk, we would think it was horrible. It's the person, no?
It's all about, you're right. Listen, you guys know, I don't need a man. A man can be bald, receding hairline. I don't care, because I've learned it's all about the way you carry yourself. And let me tell you something. I have a friend named Jeremiah who gave me permission. He has a receding hairline, and he knows that. But take a look at him. I have the picture of him.
I love that you say he knows that.
Oh, yeah. Is anybody here noticing a receding hairline?
No.
Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much. And Jeremiah, thank you so much for letting me share that picture. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Rocking with confidence.
I mean, the abs help.
And the legs. And the traps.
You know, if he wasn't very nice, we wouldn't like his abs either.
No, we would still kind of like the abs.
Walton was on our show, and he was extremely charming. And I just think that he's sexy, and he's always had this receding hairline. He's got a good set of teeth.
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
He's got a good smile. I feel like, though, that I wonder if Jude Law is out there somewhere being like, everyone's talking about a sexy receding hairline now. I've been here the whole time.
It's his hairline.
He did fix it.
Yeah,
He did.
Maybe he had one.
Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey also had a receding hairline. He
Fixed
fixed
it.
his.
Maybe they're all going to go back to it. There is
I don't
something a
think
little
so.
bit more like the receding versus the. Do we have thoughts about receding versus
The
monk.
Listen, as
Capuchin
long as he's
monk.
not using like 10% of his hair to cover 90% of his head, I really don't care. It's the comb overs. That's when you lose.
Don't hide it.
Don't hide it.
Don't
Just
hide it.
accept it.
Yeah.
it or embrace
Unless you're nice.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.